Have you ever broken a frontier in your life? Have you ever achieved one of your big dreams? We've all broken frontiers of some kind, and I'm glad to tell you that just by you being here, you've broken frontiers yourself. Do you know how to sign the word frontier, Danielle?
No, I haven't got a clue.
So this is how we sign frontier. We put our hands in front of our chest, middle fingers touching and thumbs pointing up, and move our hands out and back in like that. Let's all have a go at this. Put your hands in front of your chest, your middle fingers touching and thumbs pointing up, and move your hands out and back in like that. One more time. Frontier. Awesome. Now you signed frontier, I'm going to talk to you about breaking them. From a very young age, I've wanted to follow my dreams. I'm lucky to have a mother who has nurtured and encouraged me to be unique, expressive, and trust myself from the get-go. By the time I was 8 months old, I was signing around 50 gestures in British Sign Language, although I have to confess, frontier wasn't one of them. My mum watched with care and attention, and I've been home educated pretty much since day dot. And that has allowed me to be my true self, not a forced mold. I'm the youngest published self-development author in the world, but my journey hasn't been easy. The way I see it, there are two types of frontier, negative and positive. Negative frontiers could be obstacles in life, real frontiers, for example, a tsunami or a car crash, or frontiers that just appear there. For example, that nagging feeling that can pop into your head, or distractions that can arise. Positive frontiers could be healthy personal boundaries. For example, if someone that you didn't know came up to you in a shop and asked you inappropriate questions and you didn't answer them, that would be a healthy personal boundary, and they're healthy positive frontiers. Here's a big negative frontier that I overcame. When I was 7 years old, my father brutally upped and left, 4 days before my birthday. He didn't come to my party or give any help after. There was never a goodbye or a conversation. He cancelled all the direct debits for the very things I love to do most. We get £6.74 a week, split between 3 children, even though he works full-time. My birthday and Christmas present pile took a total hammering. But what happens when we get direct debited like this? Emotionally direct debited, right where it hurts me, my brother, and sister most. For me, I was absolutely floored and flabbergasted, upset and distraught. But I trained harder, I studied harder, I took time off to do nothing. I felt my feelings, I talked, I cried, and I didn't let it stop me. When it came to hobbies and finances, my mother had to have some pretty humbling conversations with the groups I went to, resulting in me getting a scholarship for the Jiu-jitsu Academy that my now absent father had stopped paying for. I persevered. I'm proud to tell you that since that day in early 2018, I've racked up 6 bronze and 3 silver medals at local, national, European, and world championship level. I love Jiu-jitsu. The whole ethos of Brazilian... I love Jiu-jitsu. The whole ethos of Brazilian Jiu-jitsu is a non-quitting attitude, and I have adopted that mentality. It took time, but I overcame it. Since that day, I always wanted a book on how to be my best self, to be an unstoppable kid. And when there wasn't one available, I started writing it from my bedroom. I joined with Danielle after we met at a Mensa event and got chatting, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Together, we walked into the London Book Fair, and without an agent and no former experience, eventually got a worldwide book deal. That was when I realized that unstoppable kid I wanted to be inspired by was already here. I already am one. My book is published in the UK, the USA, and is translated into 2 other languages around the world. I could not have done it alone. I have many people to thank along the way, including Mensa, charities, tutors, mentors, coaches, friends, TED, GMC Books, Danielle, of course, and most of all, my mum. I'm committed to being my best self and to achieving my goals. But this doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by accident. This takes grit and hard work, and loads of effort, and sometimes sacrifice. Now, years on from my father leaving, I now see him like a place that I used to visit. I don't mind now, and rarely think about it. I neither get nor expect anything from that place anymore, but I'm happy with that. I am enough. I have enough. I know there'll be kids out there experiencing similar, and my message is, don't give up, keep going. Resilience, growth mindset. I like to approach challenges as an opportunity and say thank you for the learning. If I can do it, you can do it. Emotional intelligence and self-understanding are both lifelong learning processes, but they're well worth spending time on because this is what allows us to live better and be more successful. I knew I had to knuckle down if I wanted to finish the book by my personal deadline. But sometimes I wanted a break and kept putting it off. I knew this wasn't going to get me to my goal and how important my goal was, so I carried on, put in the hard work, and we finished it in time. The lesson I learned from this is that breaks should only be taken when needed, and goals are far more important than instant gratification. We can be frequent offenders for creating our own imaginary restrictions, and these are the negative frontiers that I mentioned. Negative frontiers can be a thing of the mind. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of brain power to realize, oh, they're not actually there. That barrier is just a brick wall in my head that I built myself. I was just assuming or imagining that. It's about not thinking I can't, but thinking I can, and I will.
That is so true, and can't. How often do we hear that word? I can't, you can't, we can't. Growing up, that word was not allowed in my vocabulary, seriously. And if it did sneak in, it got changed pretty quickly. So does anybody remember learning to play the recorder at primary school? Oh, a few of you. Oh, you look like you enjoyed it just as much as me. I hated it. I dreaded lessons. I found it really difficult. And one particularly tricky practice session at home, I'd had enough. I stomped my foot, I threw the recorder to the other side of the lounge, and I shouted, I can't do it. My mum picked it up, said, come on, there's no such thing as can't. We'll both learn how to play. And together we did. I got there, if you consider a tuneless rendition of Little Donkey at the school Christmas play a success, but I did it. Can't is a limiting word. Can't holds us back, tangles us in doubt, and tears us down. And if we get rid of it, we open the door to a world of possibility. If we start to think in terms of solutions and how-tos and I-cans, we begin to redefine what we think we're capable of. This mindset underpinned my career in sport. I enjoyed a lot of success in archery. I enjoyed a lot of success in archery where I achieved many world firsts, world records, and world titles. I pushed the barriers of my own perceptions when I became the first disabled person to represent England in an able-bodied competition at the Commonwealth Games and won gold. Oh, thank you. Whilst others were surprised, I was not. Living with a disability, my focus has always been on my ability, what I can do, rather than what I cannot. Through sport, I learned that the thing that separated the best in the world from everybody else was an attitude, a champion mindset. Those athletes that got to the top and stayed there expected to succeed rather than tried not to fail, which is a really important distinction. And this is a mindset that I find that children are far better at than adults. We can all learn a lot from the way they view the world through a lens of possibility, of limitless dreams and endless hope, a future full of excitement and wonder, free from constraint and ingrained pessimism. Conversation is a powerful tool. When we remain curious, when we listen and we take the time to understand, we learn and we grow.
That's right, Danielle. This links to our positive frontiers. It's important to take time to feel the feelings and to experience what comes up, grounded and healthily curious about what they're telling you. Practice identifying feelings, feeling them in the body, naming them, and clearly and kindly expressing them. Nurture the ability to recognize and communicate what we really need. If we don't acknowledge and release these feelings, then they can morph into all sorts of nasty things which show up in our bodies as physical illnesses and sicknesses. Mind, body, energy, feelings, and spirit are all interconnected. Trust that we shouldn't put frontiers between them, and we'll live better when we learn to let them work together, harmonize. If we can truly experience self-care and at the same time supervise ourselves, we're onto a winning recipe, even if that means surrendering or learning to fail. One exercise that may benefit is called the hug exercise, demonstrated by Peter Levine, a therapist who has a naturalistic and a neurobiological approach to healing trauma. This and the VU exercise can help guide us to a place of confidence and security and help regulate our nervous systems. Let's go through this together. When we do this, notice any feelings and thoughts that can come up and feel them and express them without judgment. Okay, so here's how we do it. Let's place our left hand on our right side, next to our heart, and our right hand on the upper part of our left arm. And we're going to close our eyes for a few seconds and take some time to feel what comes up into our heads without judgment. Brilliant. And then we're going to switch sides. And again, just feel these things without judgment. See the images that come up. It may be scary, but it's just something that we've not acknowledged or felt coming up before. Awesome, awesome. So be proud of what you've just done and be proud of your challenges and your problems. I'm proud of my problems. Dealing with them is part of what makes us who we are. And I want you to be proud of your problems. They're an opportunity to learn. I learned this from my mum breaking her leg and her attitude. She was alone with 3 of us, but ultimately it brought us closer together. In the toughest moments, we still found motivation. Motivation is a key ingredient in success. This is what helps us push through the setbacks and inspires us to do the right things. Find what motivates you in those tough moments. If we can remain motivated and remain proud of our challenges, then we see the world in a different way. I was interested to discover that fear and excitement are actually the exact same physical state. It's just how your brain perceives these feelings. So maybe next time you're feeling afraid, try and reframe your brain's lens and transform it into feeling excited instead.
Totally awesome, right? Nathan sees the world in a brilliant way. He's incredibly perceptive and sharing his ideas, experiences, thoughts and feelings have enabled us to ensure our book, Be Your Best Self, is written for children rather than what adults think children want. We both come from different backgrounds, different age groups with very different skill sets, but we share the same vision and values. This was about having a real impact on children's lives, empowering them to raise their aspirations and create opportunities that lead to bright and successful futures. And we haven't always seen eye to eye on this journey, have we, Nathan?
No, we haven't.
No. But because of these different backgrounds, we have different ideas, different areas of expertise, and different experiences on the same subject. And this is a brilliant thing. We've had long conversations about what it means to be the best you can be. We've explored new angles and taken the time to look at things from a different perspective. Creating a safe space to share ideas and recognize the validity of each point of view has enabled us to be more innovative, more inclusive, and more engaging. A book about how to be the best you can be, after all, really ought to be the best it can be. We might be an unusual team, but we are an awesome one, and diversity of thought and experience has enabled us to create something extraordinary, putting it across in a way that is accessible to more.
Stay true to yourselves, you lovely, curious, collaborative, connective beings. When we stay true to ourselves, we can do and achieve things out of the ordinary. We can be diverse and proud. You are unique. You don't have to follow the crowd. You are unstoppable, and with the help of yourself, you can overcome frontiers. Thank you for listening.